It's like dinner. Of the audio
Was that, I'm sorry, was that Ed? Okay.
Okay, Debbie, you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I see names that I don't recognize, so I would like to, I think we have a moment. So can you just raise your hand in chat if you are either a guest, or just put your name in chat if you're a guest or a new member, or maybe somebody we haven't seen in a while. Just put a little note in chat. So I don't recognize Luann, are you a member? You can type in chat. We won't be able to hear you. Lynn, Terry, or Francisco, could one of you please send Mary Ann the Zoom meeting link? She just texted us all. Okay. All right, there we go. Luann, you're a guest of Rich Lewis. Welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you. And Christina Kay, you're a charter member from the very beginning. Welcome. Let's see, who else don't I recognize? I think I might recognize just about everybody else. Anybody else that I'm missing? Okay. I think we got everybody. So welcome to our guests. Very nice to have you. I hope you enjoy the meeting tonight. We've been doing very well with our online meetings. I'm very pleased. So next thing, we have a treasurer, and that is Tom O'Rourke. He is the man in the with the Santa Claus beard. His beard is not always that long, but he said he does not want to cut it himself. So we're waiting until he decides to cut it, but he doesn't usually look like Santa Claus. But Tom, thank you. He's going to be our treasurer. Linda and Greg, as you know, at some point are going to be going to, I kept saying Montana, but it's actually Wyoming. They'll be going to Wyoming at some point. So I guess, Tom, you can shadow Linda for a while and see what she does, and you know, get the lay of the land. So thank you very much, Tom, and please welcome that he has come on board. So we're going to have some rules tonight, a little different regarding the chat. If we have it on now, we're going to always keep the mics muted. We have the chat on now. We're going to actually turn the chat off during the judging. You know, we sent out a survey. A number of people found it distracting. And you know, we would never talk during a meeting, so even though it's virtual, we're gonna turn off the chat. We'll turn it back on again when it's time to applaud, and obviously we have it on now, and we'll also put it on again after the meeting, because we know people do enjoy it. That was something else we learned, but we don't want to have any distractions. And when you do chat, whenever you are chatting, just remember everybody can see it. Yourselves, Dave can see it, everyone can see the chat. So just, you know, be careful what you say, just the way you would normally. And I'm going to turn it over to Matt to talk about Glennie.
All right, I got Glennie results. We actually, nobody in our club placed anything. However, all of our images were accepted. We did, however, get the club got a diversity award. We were number 4 out of the top 5 in diversity. There
And
was
that's out of 68 clubs, right?
yeah, there's 68 total clubs participated. 46 of them were from the United States. 22 of them were international. There was 675 total images submitted.
Do you want to explain what the diversity award is, Matt, so everyone understands?
Basically, the diversity award is who the clubs that submitted the most categories. So we were part of the top categories. We pretty much had an image for every single category they offered.
And apparently we scored well enough to score in the
Yeah,
top 5.
and we scored well enough on our images to make the top 5 of the diversity, but we didn't score well enough to get any other prizes for each individual person.
Okay.
And if anybody would like to see the results, I can email them out or send you the information. They also did a video of all the images and the judging and the scores, so you can watch the video if you'd like as well.
And you can see the scores online on their site as well?
You know, I haven't looked on their site, so I'm not sure, but I assume that you could, yeah. You can probably go right on their site and find all this information.
Okay, well, that's a little disappointing on the personal level, but that's certainly good news on the club level that we got some recognition. So that's great. Do you have anything else, Matt?
That's it.
Okay, Terry, I'll move on to you.
Okay. So as far as the NJFCC Pictorial Awards, we got a total of 4 in the open category. Lou, Linda Heath, and Wendy got honorable mention ribbons, and Linda Heath also got an honorable mention ribbon for creative. So we got 3 in open and 1 in creative. So very good, everybody. Nice going. And then just a reminder, you know, Photorama has been moved from June 6th till August 29th. That went out a couple of times from Debbie and from myself, but in case you missed it, it's August 29th, Saturday. Same place, same time, same speaker, everything the same. So that's Photorama, and that date should hold. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Valerie, want to talk about the surveys and next month's speaker? Is Valerie here? Actually, I didn't see her.
Valerie's in the room.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
now.
Valerie.
Yep, I'm sorry. I'm having audio problems on my computer. So much for tech support. But anyway, our speaker will change next month. We will actually have Nick Cranbury doing a presentation. James wasn't, excuse me. I did a walk before, I swear, it's allergies right before the meeting. Nick isn't set up to do a online presentation, so he won't be joining us for this year. So next 2021, we'll have him back. And as far as the surveys go, I'm going to send out a couple graphs and everything through the next networking or newsletter that we're going to have. But of all of the presentations or participants would like to, excuse me, all the events people would like to participate in is nature, waterfalls, short areas, abandonment. In that order, there are some other couple of things or some other things that were listed there that we're going to be good to go. Most people were interested in taking the trip. There were some people who said they don't want to do long walks or hikes and things like that. So we will try to make sure we have some events that are around that or take that into consideration while we're making them. And we did have a couple people say they would be interested in leading a tour. If you have changed your mind and you decided you want to lead a tour, please let me know. I'll add you to the list. And that's about it. Keep it short tonight.
Yeah, we're trying to keep our business short tonight. We're doing very well. Okay, A number of you are going to be participating this Sunday in Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day. And Matt actually asked John to put together a short presentation to talk a little bit about camera settings and so forth. So Matt, if you can let John have control of the screen so he can show us his slides.
And John should be able to do that right now.
I'm unmuted by host.
You're unmuted, yes. And you should be able to click in the top of your screen. It'll say share your screen.
Ah, okay, I didn't see that. Hold on.
You have a menu somewhere. Because you're a co-host, you can do anything.
And where is this going to be?
I'm
It's
seeing it
somewhere
on the
with,
bottom.
yeah, some's bottom, some are at the top. It depends on where your menus
Share
are for
screen.
Zoom.
I see it.
There
Okay.
you go. And then you can pick an app or whatever you're going to share us.
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want to continue?
Yes, you do.
Yes, so. So the window that I want to share, that one. That seemed to work.
Okay.
Okay.
If anyone's having trouble seeing that, if you go to the right-hand side of John's screen, the very, very far right-hand side of the blue area, you'll see a vertical line, and within the vertical line, there's two smaller, darker vertical lines. If you pull that to the right, it will make your screen bigger, and you'll be able to see on screen and still see the videos on the side.
Does this seem to be working?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, so I've just made up a number of slides here just to describe digital pinhole photography. So I'll just quickly go through the slides. I only want to take a couple of minutes. So this is the first slide. Digital pinhole photography, or how to take photos with your DSLR and a pinhole body cap. And as Debbie mentioned, this Sunday, April 26th, is Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day. And basically, those who are participating take a pinhole photo this Sunday, has to be on this Sunday, process it, resize it, you uploaded it to their website by midnight, June 30th. And I created today a group name, CDCC, so that if you upload to that group name, they will be all associated together. So, you know, everyone will know that members of this club had participated. So what is a pinhole cap? For those of you who've gotten one from me, you know what they look like. It's a plastic body cap with a 1/4-inch hole in it. But within that hole is a thin sheet of brass or silver with a round, tiny, tiny hole in the middle. This one is 0.26 millimeters, and that's simply taped on the inside of the cap. And that 0.26 millimeter pinhole is optimized for the cap to sensor distance. Nikon and camera DSLRs are about the same, 0.26 millimeter. And the few people who had asked for one for a mirrorless camera, it's a smaller size pinhole because their distance is shorter. What to expect if you try to use a pinhole? Don't expect sharp focus. It simply doesn't exist with a pinhole. Pinhole is a fuzzy focused image. Do expect infinite depth of field. We'll be shooting at an f-stop approaching 150 or even higher. There's some numbers as 100 as f200. Really, it's crazy numbers because it's such a tiny, tiny pinhole. And because of that, expect to see all the dirt on your sensor. It will be very apparent if you have a very dirty sensor, so you may be removing lots of spots within Photoshop. What else to expect? On a DSLR, the viewfinder simply won't work. You can handhold your camera if the ISO is high enough where there's enough light. If you shoot near a bright light, expect dramatic colored flares. although I will caution you, don't point your camera directly at the sun. If you point it slightly off center, you'll still get the nice flares and you won't damage the sensor. And expect some novel photos. What not to expect is don't expect sharp focus images. They simply don't exist. Do you sense a theme here? What do you need? A DSLR or mirrorless digital camera, a body cap that fits your camera, the ones that you gave a donation and you now own. A tripod is useful. It's optional. A cable release would be good if you have a tripod, but again, you can handhold with modern DSLRs and get good results. And last but not least, you need a willingness to try something different. So the kind of things, what to do to start. You got to remove the current lens from your camera. You put the pinhole body cap on it. There's a little bit of blue tape that I put on the front to protect the pinhole. Set the camera at a moderately high ISO, like 1600, 800, 600 to start. You can always drop it. Or set the camera to an auto ISO. Most cameras allow for that. What else? You should choose an aperture priority mode or manual mode and set your DSLR to live view mode on the back, and you'll have to compose your images from the rear screen. Now the problem is with such a tiny pinhole on the front, virtually no light gets through that you would be able to see. The sensor sees it, but you can't. So that's why you have to use live view mode. But on a mirrorless camera, because there's no direct optical system up to your eye, the viewfinder should work. And that's basically it. You can take a picture and experiment. After you take a photo, it's a digital camera club. You're going to do some post-processing, most likely. When you're opening in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw, you can use the texture and clarity, dehaze controls to bring up details. Remember, it's a fuzzy focus. It's simply not going to be sharp. You have tremendous depth of field, but it's going to be fuzzy. Might denoise the image to reduce any grain, especially if you're shooting at higher ISOs. And if your sensor is dirty, you'll want to remove those dirt spots. They'll be very obvious little black spots. If you're going to participate in the Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day, you'll have to resize the image to 700 pixels max, height and width, and save it as JPEG. I've got a couple of examples here. The other day, I took a handheld image, 800 ISO, in my backyard of some dandelions. The picture on the left is as shot. The picture on the right is after processing. I used Topaz denoise software. I removed the detector dirt with Photoshop. I sharpened and enhanced the color using Photoshop. Some other things, Nik HDR Effects Pro, and something called Nik 5ASA, which really can bring some details out. This is just an example, so it's not, it's not that fuzzy when you've gone through and done your processing if you can do it fairly well. I mentioned before about flare. You can get a very dramatic colored flare when almost shooting into the sun or a very bright light. Again, if you accentuate it using some of the sliders in Camera Raw or Lightroom, they can be quite pronounced. This was taken on a tripod at 100 ISO. It's a monument in a cemetery in Bodie, California. This is a picture that Lou DeVico entered last year in Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day. It's an image that he took in his backyard of a model that he himself made. I don't know exactly how large the model is, but I'm guessing it's about no longer than a foot long, but it looks like a full-size car because that you can get some dramatic perspective effects when using a small subject with a pinhole. And last but not least, I show sort of an extreme version. This is an HDR infrared pinhole image from last year's entries. Not someone from our club, but someone from Tucson, Arizona. He used a modified Nikon D810, and he had a pinhole on that, a pinhole cap, and he combined 6 images for the HDR effect. So there's a wide gamut of range that you can take of images with a pinhole. And then last but not least, I included some resources, including how to submit your image. There's a link for that, as well as a couple of other links to give you some ideas and some tips as to how to take some images. I will be making this as a PDF available, so if anyone wants to get it, you can make use of it. So that's basically it. I hope I didn't take too long. So.
Not at all. Thank you, John. Would
Excellent,
folks,
John.
would folks like to have that? A copy of that?
We'll take the PDF and we'll put it on the website.
Okay, well, Matt, if you can tell me how I can submit that to you, I can just email it to you. So,
Yeah, yep,
okay.
excellent.
Very good. Okay. I think we're done with business. I would like to introduce Dave. And Dave, my apologies. I meant to find out how to pronounce your last name. So it looks French, and since I don't speak French, when I'm done, you can explain to folks how we say your last name. So David's passion for nature photography was sparked by a trip to Glacier National Park in the summer of 2000. And since then, he and his wife, Kathy, have traveled the world to witness and photograph the wonders of nature. He's a member of the North American Nature Photography Association, and he's written several articles for Nature Photographer magazine. He began judging competitions in 2005 and has judged at the local, regional, and international level. David is an instructor for the New Jersey Audubon Society's Digital Photography Workshop Series and is the 2014 recipient of the New Jersey Federation of Camera Club citation. David's work was represented by Animals Earth Scenes, a rights-managed stock photography agency, and his photos have appeared on calendars and in several books and magazines. So welcome, David. Can you say your last name for us as soon as Matt gets you off mute?
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Where's his name? Here it is. You should be unmuted now, Dave.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. The last name is De Rocher.
De Rocher, and it
Yeah.
is
Now, when
French,
my father came to the United States when he was, I think, 13 years old, and changed the pronunciation to De Rocher to be more American. But as as my sons were growing up, they liked De Rocher better, so they took De Rocher. And when I left my job and retired, I figured De Rocher is more of a better name for a photographer than De Rocher. So that's why I pronounce it that way. But you can go either way. Thanks for inviting me. I'm going to be looking at your photos on a calibrated screen, so hopefully the colors will be well. For those of you looking at the program on a TV, I did that the other night, and the colors seem to be more saturated when looking at a TV screen. So so my comments as I'm looking at a computer screen might be a little different from what I'm seeing versus the TV screen. I will attempt to try to give you some tips on how I think an image might be able to be improved, and hopefully it'll go smoothly.
Terrific. We're going to turn off chat now, and we'll turn it back on when we come to each grouping.
Okay.
So Matt, I'll turn it over to you for the show.
Excellent. We'll be showing the images. The image will come up and Debbie will tell you what the name is. And then David, you can go ahead and do your scoring.
Okay.
This is the first group. There is 2 images, and that means we're going to only have 1 HM. And here we go.
Almost sunrise.
Okay. Well, we do have a little bit of reflection here. You've got the to me this is more of a silhouette type of an image, and so as such, the the reflection kind of gets lost because the rocks are so dark. So for the subject of reflection, I'm not sure it quite meets the criteria in that respect. I do like the idea that the photographer chose an interesting rock formation to silhouette. My suggestion would be, and I'm going to try doing something here with this. There we go. You see that little blue line? Am I getting that on there?
Yes.
Okay, so that rock and this rock, I think, are kind of dominating the picture. So it's kind of making it hard for the viewer to get into the scene. So my suggestion would be to kind of maybe crop it a little tighter, maybe stand in a different place and do something along those lines. Because this is, I think this area is the interesting part of the competition. You know, it's an interesting scene. We'll give it a 7.
The buildings opposite.
Okay, now how do we get rid of that? There.
There you go.
Okay, good. Okay, so the photographer saw a reflection in the window, which is a unique way of approaching this particular subject. So I think as far as technical aspects, it looks it's pretty well exposed. The detail does look a little bit soft to me, but I think maybe a little bit more sharpness, and you can probably bring out that detail in post-processing using some of the sharpening tools that are available. As far as meeting the requirements for the competition of reflections, I might have zoomed in a little bit more and maybe eliminated the flower box and really focused on the reflection in the window. Now, in trying to do that, sometimes you get too close and the photographer ends up being in the reflection. So maybe that's the reason that the photographer stood a little bit back on that. But I like the composition. I like the off-center, the way the placement of the owl off-center. It's an interesting subject and nice tight crop. Give this one a 7 as well.
Excellent. So now you have 2 7s.
Okay.
And you're going to have to decide which one's which.
Okay. Okay. Well, are you going to show them again, or should I just?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to show them again.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thought I had to work from memory.
Yeah, you got to work from memory here. There should be thumbnails across the bottom there.
I see that. I see that.
Okay.
All right. Let's go with the we'll go with the window.
The window is going to be your HM. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Matt hasn't done this for a whole month. I know the feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a video in my way. So hold on one sec here. I have to move some stuff around. Computer screen's too small.
Can't stand the suspense, Matt.
Yeah. All right, here's your HM.
Almost sunrise.
Right.
Can you put the maker up for me?
No,
I'm sorry. Actually, that's the wrong one. I clicked
No.
the wrong button.
Okay, that's why I'm not seeing the maker.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on one second. Here's your image.
Hold on a second, I'm just seeing, oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. The building's opposite is by Susan Freeman. Congratulations, Susan, for your honorable mention.
All right. Excellent. And now we have group 2. And there is 17 images in this group. So we're going to have a first, second, third place, and 4 HMs. And here we go.
Bridge over troubled water.
Okay, this is a nice approach to this particular subject. I like the fact that the photographer left out the area that was creating the reflection and just showed the reflection. I might have turned it up the other. Well, if you turn it the other direction, then the leaves are upside down. So forget that comment. But I do like that maybe a little bit more exposure in the bottom of the bridge. Maybe a little bit more, allow a little bit more detail in that area. But you've got nice complementary colors with the red against the blue. You've got nice diagonal on the bridge going over the water. Give this one an 8.
Enchanted forest.
Okay, nice idea. You found an area with some shallow water, and they had these beautiful trees with some beautiful texture reflecting into that area. Now, my suggestion on this one would be to get my antidote here. Okay, I would crop it here because excuse my lines, they're not really straight, but I think this area over here with this out of focus tree and these out of focus branches on the bottom are extremely distracting. Everything else is so beautiful and sharp and great texture, and then by having this really out of focus tree trunk right along the left side is extremely distracting. So I would suggest that you would take this image, crop that area out, and re-enter it. I think it would be a much better image. But for now, we'll give it a 7.
On Pond of Green.
Okay, so you found a beautiful location. I think your exposure is what happened. Okay, I don't know why that doesn't go away.
Hold on one second, I'll clear it. There you go.
Okay, thank you. I guess you have to clear that because I can't see how to do it. Okay, thanks. All right, so as far as the composition, it's a nice composition. I might have cropped a little bit off the right side. You've got that a half of a small tree in the along the right edge. I might have cropped it just to the left of that and eliminated that because the beautiful part of this is that it looks like a kind of an island out there in the middle of the lake. Now, as far as the subject of reflection, we don't get a lot of the reflection. So from a capture point of view, it might have been advisable if you had reflection in your mind when taking this picture, is to walk up to the edge of the water and eliminate the grass and the tall grass along the lower part of the image, and have the bottom of the frame include just the water reflecting that beautiful island. So I think exposure-wise, sharpness-wise, it's a nice composition, but as far as meeting the criteria for the reflections, I think it falls a little bit short. I'll give this a 7.
Remembering.
Okay, nice idea. I've shot similar shots at this location myself, utilizing reflection into the monument, and this is nicely done. Might have maybe cropped it a little bit off on the right-hand side because the overall balance of the image is a little heavy to the left. So maybe a tighter crop on the right. to balance that out a little bit more. But I think even though it looks like the post-processing, you've kind of created some kind of a glowish feeling in your post-processing, and I think that adds a nice touch to it. But nicely done. We'll give this one an 8.
Reflection from footlocker window.
Okay, so it meets the criteria. The photographer saw something interesting. I'm trying to figure out where the photographer was standing, because usually this photographer would be reflected in that. So maybe he's in that little car across the street with a long lens. I'm not sure, but it's a good idea. I think maybe the car in the lower left-hand corner, if that wasn't there, it might have, revealed the house that's behind it and maybe created a little bit more of a nicer scene. It's a little bit on the flat side. I think if you look at your histogram, I'm not sure your black point and white point are properly set. So just bring this up in Photoshop and go to the levels, and you want to bring your black point up to the edge of the histogram on the left and the white point up on the right. And I think it would give it a little bit more contrast. But it meets the criteria. We'll give this a 7.
Snow goose in afternoon light.
Okay, so really utilizing a nice reflection. You had nice calm water. Now I'm trying to see if I can get rid of this. I'm getting a little bit of cutoff at the bottom here. I think that's, I'm still showing that toolbar on the bottom. So if you have any ideas on how to get rid of that. I don't know if you can get rid of that. Anyways, so I'm going to assume that there's a little bit more room on the bottom, but nice shot. You have beautiful light. The reflection is, because of the calm water, is ideal. One minor suggestion on this one: if the photographer has the Nik software collection, if you go into Color Effects Pro, there's a program called White Neutralizer. And if you click that, you would find that the blues in the water would become a little bluer. It's got kind of an off color to it, but that white neutralizer kind of brings out the more natural blue in a blue subject. So you might want to give that a try. But other than that, beautiful image. We'll give this one an 8.
Reflecting upon the holidays.
Okay, so you found the reflection of the Christmas tree and both the windows on the behind it and on the side, and even a little bit of reflection on the floor. I think from where I'm looking, the photo looks a little bit soft and lacking of detail. So I'm not sure it's really tack sharp. So I'm not sure whether it was cropped significantly from the original image, or you might have done this with a handheld shot and maybe had a little bit of camera motion. I like the idea, but I think your lack of sharpness is hurting this one a bit. We'll give this one a 7.
Sailboat at Tuckerton.
Okay, interesting crop. We got kind of a vertical panorama. Exposure-wise, I think you've done a nice job here. I'm not sure that the majority of the reflection is really the mast and some of the clouds in the sky. So I'm wondering whether just tightening up this crop and getting into the boat a little bit further would make it a little bit more dynamic, because I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit on this. I'm kind of getting lost on the bottom and at the top because of the mast is so tall on either side. And then I've got the house, kind of the buildings in the back and the boat that's covered up with so I'm kind of losing the emphasis of getting in on that boat. As far as exposure wise, it looks like you've done a good job on exposure. It looks sharp, but I think the composition's a little bit, I think we get a little bit lost at top and on the bottom. 7.
Pinelands trees.
All right, beautiful location. You're out there on a cloudy day, so you've got nice soft light. You did manage to get some detail in the clouds, and those clouds are reflecting in the water. I like the location. My one suggestion would be maybe crop it a little bit off on the right side, if I may. Yeah, I might have cropped this one right about down here and eliminate this because I think this is your image. You've got this beautiful tree line with the beautiful reflection, but then you've got this partial bush kind of creeping in on the bottom right-hand corner, which kind of distracts my attention away from. You're going to eliminate my drawing now. It kind of distracts attention from what I think is the really interesting part of this image. I think if you recrop that, I think it would be a stronger presentation. I might want to see a little bit more contrast too. You've got a cloudy day, so the light tends to be flat. So again, increasing your contrast would increase the the intensity of the image a little bit more, not a lot, just a tad bit. 7.
Colored cylinder.
Okay, so the photographer used a metal cylinder for to really create an abstract, and I kind of like what's going on here. Placed it a little bit on a diagonal. Might have cropped off a little bit of the bottom where you kind of get that black ring at the bottom, and then it kind of goes into something which is kind of unidentifiable. You've got this kind of got this area down here. It's a little distracting, so I might have maybe cropped this right along the bottom there and eliminated that because it's really not helping your story. Your story is in the middle here, and even at the top, it's kind of nice. So, but it's a strong image. That's a minor suggestion. I'll give this one an 8.
Lost in the woods.
Okay, I like the idea of the reflection of the log in the it looks like an old hubcap on an old wheel. Great subject. I love this old stuff, this old rusty stuff. A couple of things about this one. I don't mind the depth of field falling off behind the main subject, which is your hubcap, but that out of focus log in the front is extremely distracting, and it's just blocking the viewer from getting in and really exploring the really beautiful textures and colors in the hubcap and in the rust behind it. So when taking a shot like this, look at when you have anything out of focus in the front of your photo leading into your subject, it's going to serve as a distraction, especially considering this is blocking part of the main subject. So, in a case like this, get down on your knees and move that log out of the way. Now, I know you were trying to get the reflection of the log in the hubcap, but maybe there's a way to shoot over the log and eliminate it from the photo altogether. Other than that, out of focus log, it's a really good idea, and I would go back and explore it again. 7.
Winter reflection.
Okay, I'm assuming that the reflection is probably in a window or something, because I'm not seeing it as a reflection, but unless you're talking about that what's coming out of that little glass ball. If the image has a nice feel to it, I'm struggling a little bit to see the reflection aspect of this particular image, but overall it's got a nice feel to it. It looks like it's snowing out there, and one suggestion I would have is maybe cut a little bit off on the right-hand side, eliminate that little bit of a building that's on the upper right, and that little bit of a tree that's just below it, and crop down and get rid of that, and I think it would strengthen the image. 7.
Ocean Grove fire.
Okay. Interesting storytelling. You do have some reflection in the water of the factory back there, or whatever that structure is. It kind of looks like maybe it's an old theater or something. I'm not really familiar with the area. I love the the left side. I like the kind of the S curve of that wall going towards the subject. I'd maybe come in just a hair and eliminate the cars parked along the sidewalk. It kind of takes you out of the picture a little bit. But overall, it's an interesting feel to the image. It's got that kind of that soft artistic look to it. We'll give this one an 8.
Roadside pond.
Okay. And the good idea, I see what the photographer saw, that beautiful pattern of the grass kind of standing up in the upper right-hand corner. It's an interesting subject. We're not getting a lot of reflection. It's probably the way the light is. I don't know, maybe the photographer had a polarizer, and polarizers tend to remove reflection as opposed to enhance them. So I'm not getting a true reflection of the grass. You're getting a little bit of it, more so the stick that is next to it. I would definitely eliminate the piece of the fence that's in the upper left-hand corner. It's really not serving any purpose in this particular composition. And because it's bright and its shape is different and it's along the edge, it tends to drive the viewer up into that area. So I would definitely, maybe rework this and crop that out. 7.
Oh, Gariel and reflection.
Okay, interesting creature. I'm pausing a little bit. I love the subject and I like the reflection. What I'm pausing on is the background above the head of the animal, and it looks like it was processed. Maybe there was something there and you wanted to block it out and put some kind of a dark background. But the blending between that background area and into the animal is a little bit crunchy. It's not really a clear blend, and it looks odd to me. And you can see that if you look at the area below where the animal's head is, you can see some detail there. But that totally black area that just above the head doesn't look natural, and it looks a little bit odd to me. I love the animal. I would like to see what this image looks like without that treatment behind it. 7.
Reflection on pond.
Okay, well, it meets the criteria. You do have a reflection on the pond. This, not sure why, maybe the size of your image, but you can see especially around that log that's sticking out and being reflected, you got kind of a white line around it. That's kind of what they call a halo, and that's a result of either over processing an image or maybe cropping too much, or having a low quality JPEG image. I don't know if this was taken with a phone or with a low end camera, but that halo is evident of a lack of quality in the overall image. And I'm not getting a lot of detail in what is being reflected. It's kind of muddy, so I'm really having a hard time seeing what your subject is. 6.
Foxy reflection.
Okay, good subject. You got there at the right time, and you got the fox drinking the water. So I like the composition. I think what's lacking on this image is detail. I'm not getting a lot of sharpness in the fur, a lot of detail in the fur, and the head looks a bit soft to me. So it's either this was cropped significantly from the original image, or the focus point wasn't quite on the target. Because the whole image does look a little bit soft to me, so there may have been some camera shake as a result. But I think we need to get more detail. Now, what I would suggest you try to do, if you don't have it yet, and I think it's on sale, Topaz has a sharpening tool, which I just purchased a couple of months ago. And I've had some images that were really soft, and I put it through their sharpening program. They have you can either sharpen, you can focus, or they have one that compensates for camera movement. And I ended up with images that were tack sharp. So Topaz AI, sharpening AI, I think it's called. You may want to consider that. So this would require a little bit more work on getting that sharpness. 7.
Excellent. Now you have 5/8. So we'll
Okay.
get our first, second, and third out of there.
Okay.
And then you'll still need 4 HMs.
Okay. Okay, this one is first.
The wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The bridge next to it, that one is second.
Second. Okay.
And the tube, that abstract tube thing, that's
Is
third.
third.
Yeah.
All right.
Got 2 HMs on the other 2.
And this is going to be HM and an HM. All right. And now I need 2 more HMs out of
Okay.
11.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, this is one of them. Go back.
The
There's
the pond.
right there. Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's go with this one. This one, that
The
yeah.
trees.
the out of focus
Okay.
tree bothers me, but the rest of it is absolutely gorgeous.
All right. Excellent.
Hey, Matt, could you turn on chat if folks want to congratulate other folks?
Yeah, I'll turn on chat because after this, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Yes, okay.
So I will turn on the chat right now, and then I will also unmute everybody once we do the awards. Okay, chat should be working. Okay.
Okay, honorable mentions. Matt Rank, Enchanted Forest, honorable mention. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mary Little, Snow Goose and Afternoon Light, honorable mention. Congratulations, Mary. Highlands Trees, Terry Donofrio, honorable mention. Congratulations, Terry. Ocean Grove Fire by Ella Baum, honorable mention. Congratulations to Ella. Third place. Ed Horniker, Colored Cylinder, third place. Congratulations, Ed. And second place, also Ed, Bridge Over Troubled Water, second place. You're on a roll, Ed. Great photo. Okay, so 5-minute break, Matt?
5 minute. I'll put up the timer in 1 second.
Okay, and you can chat and we'll turn videos back on. So, or if you need to take a quick break, you can do that.
And if anybody wants to talk, we're all unmuted.
Hey, how's everybody?
I hope so.
Congratulations, Ed.
Yeah, I've
Excellent.
been,
Yeah, congrats, Ed.
yeah.